Hey, thanks for joining me. I am so excited to share a new tool I learned about this week. And it's a tool to help us communicate with families, especially as we're working to communicate about holds and curbside and other library events. This is a potential huge win for all of our students and families. We're going to be learning about talking points, a communications tool available through the Clever portal in Seattle Public Schools. So thanks for starting at seattleschools.org.
And I'm super excited because as the Ballard High School librarian and as Eagle staff being my feeder school, it is awesome to be able to have such a great communication tool for all of our families.
Yeah. And I love this because it's gonna last. Like, it's something that can be consistent and that families can become accustomed to. And honestly, the biggest selling point for me of talking points is the translate function that is just built into this tool. So it's a pretty powerful tool. If you don't mind, would you click on students?
I'm going to have. Do you want students or student family portal?
Well, I usually use the drop down from the top, so either way. But okay. In the student, under the student drop down or on the student page, you're using the student family portal. So go ahead and click on the portal. Yep. And then in Clever, one of the subcategories of resources is SPS resources, it's SPS tools. And in SPS tools, you'll see talking points. And you can, if you want to favorite that by clicking the heart, it will drop it right up to the top, so you don't have to browse down. But go ahead and click on talking points. And now talking points is going to ask you a few questions as you get into this particular tool, just to help set up the family-facing side of your portal. So go ahead, and unfortunately, there is not a librarian listed under teacher role. So I've chosen teacher other in this instance. And then you can choose the grades you serve, and you just have to choose one at a time, but you can choose as many as you serve. In Ballard High School here in Seattle, Washington. You'll want to make sure you don't choose, I believe is it Illinois where there's another Ballard High School?
There is another one.
But so go ahead and click done. I choose not to subscribe to news, tips, and engagement resources. And once you get in, the thing about talking points is that right now, because this is an SPS tool, this is integrated with our course in PowerSchool. So on the left-hand side right now, if you click on students, you will see the total, roughly the total number of students assigned or enrolled at Ballard High School. And you can also see any classes where you are also an admin. So you'll have a couple of ways that you can use this tool. What I want to show you, though, is how, for today, how we could send messages to families about curbside as an example for one way you might choose to use this tool. Before we do that, though, we're going to do, we want to make sure we set your profile up as much as you'd like it to, and get it to the place where you want it to be. So down in the bottom left-hand corner, if you click on your name, Tuesday Chambers, and you choose, actually choose the teacher mode. You're going to move to the teacher mode first, down below there. Yep. And for whatever reason, the settings in the teacher mode are a little more pliable. We can actually get them to do the things we want them to do when we're in here. And so now that you're in teacher mode, congratulations, you've signed up for Talking Points. Down at the bottom, again, click on your name because we're going to go into your profile and give you a chance to change some of the settings. So go up to settings. Oh, sorry, you were in the right place. I called it the wrong thing. Settings. And now you can see under personal information, you can start to fill in or change anything that's here. This is where you could add a photo for your little bubble if you wanted to. And then if you click on school settings there in the grade spot, you can just double check. And this is where I went in and I changed my role to librarian. And that I felt like better represented who was sending that. And then you can save those settings. Now here is the step we're going to do next is when you click on change password, it's going to say set a new password. Now this is really important. If you decide to also use the app version of Talking Points, you have to do this first in this specific settings under school view. So go ahead and choose your new password. It will not be visible to the rest of us. And it can be your same password that you use. It just needs you to do it here in this particular location first.
That seems really helpful to actually have my phone with me and be able to use it as especially at curbside.
Yeah, well, and I was thinking also if anybody ends up delivering and you don't want to call from your personal device, because you can use the app in this way, you could send a quick text to a family and say, I'm 5 minutes away from your house. I'm bringing your library books. See you soon. And you could use it in that way also. Do
I need to do this as in addition?
You don't. No, you just have to do the first one where you set that password. So now I'm going to ask you to click on where it says go to school mode. Because teacher mode, I think, is really designed for a classroom teacher. And so I think that there's a lot of power in the school mode for a librarian, since you'll be messaging potentially a large number of students from lots of different grade levels or classes or whatever. So in order to send a message, you just click on the send a message button in the left-hand menu. And under the to field, this is where you will begin to select recipients. And for example, I happen to know you have a wine coop at your school. So if you chose to type in wine coop, you'll see Addison shows up. You can click on Addison. And now you can write Addison a message. And then before you do anything else, after you write your message, we'll talk about a couple of the features here. So you can attach a file. You can attach a photo. There are Google Drive docs here as well. You could even set up a poll if you wanted to poll folks, although we have poll options in all kinds of places. And then if you wanted to fuss with some of the visuals with the style, the colors and things, you could do that as well. The other thing is if you had a message you sent regularly that had maybe, your curbside hours and your contact information, and you wanted to save that as a template, you're right there. You could click on that little heart and it's going to ask if you want to save it as a school or a teacher template. That's really up to you. I chose teacher template, but you could choose to do that. And then you could do two things. You can schedule. Maybe you want to schedule this for tomorrow at 12 o'clock, but you're going to be in class at 12 o'clock and you could schedule it, or you could just send it. If you want to send it, it'd be really interesting on my end to see what this looks like as a parent.
Because how many people are getting my message?
Right now, it would be in our family, potentially 30. So it will be really great. Oh, and actually, I can show you. I have a text message that says it's from Ballard High School. And it says, thank you so much for attending curbside pickup, which is just what you sent to me. In addition, for the first time, it says, hello, this is a message from Ballard High School. Save this phone number to receive school updates about Addison. You can reply to this message in your own language, which is really cool. I'm going to tell you about that in just a second. And to communicate with your classroom teacher. Here's the most amazing thing about Talking Points. Because it's attached to PowerSchool, PowerSchool knows the home language. And so the families have the ability to change or choose a home language. So if I spoke Spanish, I would receive this text from you in Spanish, even though you wrote it in English. And then I could respond to you in Spanish, and Talking Points is going to translate it for you on the other end. It's a translate tool and a communications tool. It's incredibly powerful. Just in the first few times I've tried it, I have gotten responses from families I normally struggle to get responses from. And I truly believe that it's because they have the comfort and the flexibility to be communicating in their home language. You can, once you've sent that, you can start to see that you get responses. What I would love to try and do is see if I can send you a reply and see if you get my reply at some point. A couple of the other things to just keep in mind, you can look at sent messages as your school starts to use this. If you're in school view, you're going to see everyone's message for the school. If you are in if you are in teacher mode, that's where you would just see your messages. So that's one of the two differences there. I think potentially this could be a game changer for
Look at all these languages. That's
yeah,
amazing.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
That's great.
So far you haven't, go ahead and refresh your screen. I'm curious to see if my response will show up.
I'm still
not sure.
Yeah, I think I was still in sent messages though, so it might be.
It's working. It's looking for it.
It's doing some. So let's go back to my inbox.
Mm-hmm. And if you click on Addie, I want to show you one other thing. If you click on Addison there, something else that's really cool about this is you're going to be able to see the text thread that you're having with her. And then in addition, because this is associated with Power School, you see Addie's schedule right there on the right-hand side. What an incredibly powerful thing to have that right there. And then there's the contact information as well. So that actually would show you, if you browse down to the bottom of that, that should show you who received those messages. So it would just be Mr. Wynkoop and I.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Right. And it sounds like there's so many things that I'm going to be able to explore and do with messages. And it sounds like I can stop using some of the other things that I've been using and just use this, which seems more integrated.
Integrated, and it's from a user perspective, even just searching for the student names is so much easier and more streamlined than either Schoology, Teams, or using our Outlook email. And so I think it's going to save a lot of time and help librarians really begin to communicate with families.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for helping us set this up. It was a great tool to share. I'm super excited and can't wait to see how librarians start to use this in Seattle schools.